Hello and welcome to this hip mobility snack workout focusing on hip external rotation. If your hips are really tight and you feel like you may need to improve upon hip external rotation, this 10-minute snack workout is for you. First off, how do we know if we need to work on hip external rotation? Well, hip external rotation is just our ability to turn our femur, so our leg bone, outwards, and we can do a little simple assessment of ourselves just by laying flat down on the floor. Bring one knee so it's directly over your hip. Imagine your femur, so your leg bone is a skewer, and then turn your ankle inwards. This is hip external rotation. Ideally, we should be able to rotate our shin bone inwards to about a 45-degree angle. I'm going to show you from a side view just so you can get a different viewpoint. So I'm going to bring my knee directly over my hip. I'm imagining my femur is a skewer, and then I'm rotating my ankle inwards. Ideally, I should be able to bring it inwards to about a 45-degree angle. If you're not able to bring it to a 45-degree angle right now, don't worry. Join this little snack workout. We have 3 exercises. It should only take about 10 minutes. You'll need 2 to 3 yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use a cushion from your couch, and you'll also need access to an elevated surface. So our very first exercise, we're just going to warm up our hips just a little bit in hip external rotation. So we'll start in this 90-90 position. My front leg and back leg are both bent at 90 degrees. We're going to focus on the back leg. Place both hands on either side of your right femur, and then we're going to dig your left heel into the ground, and using all of the muscles around your hip, lift your left knee off the ground as much as it can, and then return it down to the ground. We have 5 repetitions. As we do this, we're trying to move only our leg. We're trying to keep our pelvis in that exact same position. If it doesn't come off the floor that much, that is okay. This is what we're working on. Each time you lift it up, you'll notice you might get it a little bit higher as we start engaging all of those small muscles around the hip joint. We'll do one more, and then we'll do a 90-90 transfer and warm up the other side. Okay, so for our 90-90 transfer, you're going to lift that left knee off the ground as much as you can. Reach behind your back with your left arm. Keep opening up the left hip, going through this bear sit position with both knees out to the side as much as you can. Push your left knee down to the ground, and then the right one follows. Now we'll warm up the other side. Place both hands on either side of your left femur. Try to keep your hips in place as much as you can. Dig your right heel into the ground and lift your right knee off, and then back towards the ground. We have 5 repetitions. Each time you lift it off, you might notice you'll get just a little bit further as we get those hips warmed up. This is number 3. This is number 4. And then this is our last one. Squeeze and down. We need to do a 90-90 transfer back to the first side so we stay nice and even. Lifting that right knee off the ground as much as you can. Reach behind your back with your right hand. Think about using your glutes to pull your knees apart. Press your right knee down to the ground, and then the left one follows. Next up, we'll come to our elevated surface. So I'm going to be using an ottoman. If you have a workout bench, that works out perfect as well. Grab one yoga block, place it on your bench. Then what we'll do, this is an elevated pigeon stretch. This is incredible for opening up the hips and external rotation. Place your ankle on your bench or your ottoman, and then place your knee on top of your yoga block. Make sure that your shin bone is parallel to the edge of your bench. Then what you'll do is you'll make sure your knee is bent at about 90 degrees. pull your toe up towards your knee to keep your knee stable. You should not feel any torque in your knee at all. Lift your body up as tall as you can, and then slowly lower yourself down until you feel a stretch deep in your hip. Now, if your other leg is getting tired, this is where your other yoga blocks can come in. You can rest your non-working leg on your yoga blocks or your cushions. Depending on where your mobility is at, you can lower it down just a little bit. So first, we're just going to settle into this stretch. We should feel a stretch deep in this hip joint and the glutes. As we're settling into the stretch, we want to make sure that the bent knee, so the knee that's on the bench, is bent at about a 90-degree angle. Our knee is directly in front of the hip. Now, if you're having trouble feeling the stretch, you can angle your pelvis a little bit more towards the knee. If you're rotating away from the knee, you'll have a difficult time feeling the stretch. Now, we spent a little bit of time settling into the stretch. We're going to do 3 rounds of pails. So pails just means we're going to make that muscle work, and we'll get a little bit deeper into the stretch. So from here, you're going to push your ankle down into the bench as if you're trying to rotate it under your knee. You'll feel your glutes working for 3, 2, 1, and then relax a little bit deeper into the stretch. If you can go all the way down to the floor, you can do that, just depending on where your mobility is at. Let's push that ankle down into your bench again in a circular pattern for 3, 2, 1. Stop pushing down, relax a little bit deeper into the stretch. Let's do one more. Push your ankle down into the bench for 3, 2, 1, and just relax into the stretch. We're going to pause here, and then we will switch sides. Remember, when we're stretching, we never want to stretch into any areas of pain or pinching. Maybe an intense stretch, but if it's bordering on pain, we don't want to go at quite that intensity. I'm going to show you from a slightly different angle on the other side. So I'm going to place my knee on my yoga block. I'm going to have my shin bone parallel to the edge of my bench. I'm going to make sure I'm pulling my toes up towards my knee so I do not feel any torque in the knee. And then I'm going to make sure that my knee is directly in front of the hip. So my front leg, the bent leg that's on the bench, is bent at 90 degrees. Now from there, we're going to spend about 30 seconds settling into the stretch. So you're lowering your hips down just until you feel a stretch. If you're brand new, your hips may be high above your knee. That is okay. The more you practice, you'll gain bigger range of motion, and you'll be able to lower your hips a little bit more. Just going to grab that yoga block. So we're just settling into the stretch. You can keep your hands on the bench. If you're brand new to stretching, you may feel like your body keeps wanting to twist out of the stretch. So our bodies are going to try to find the path of least resistance. And again, we just don't want to go into any areas that were causing pain. We just want to feel maybe a stretch intensity of 3 to 4. Okay, now we're going to push our ankle down into the bench as if we're trying to rotate it under that knee. So we're going to pushing in that rotary pattern for 3, 2, 1. Just relax. Notice you'll get a little bit deeper into the stretch. Pushing down in that rotary pattern for 3, 2, 1. And we'll do one more. Pushing down again for 3, 2, 1. Finding that big stretch. Excellent. So now we have opened up our hips in external rotation. Now we need to save the work. So we need to strengthen the hips in external rotation. This is the true secret. This is the best kept secret of hip mobility. Stretch followed by strengthening. So come down to a side lying position. This is a side lying position, kind of like I'm setting up to do a side plank, but we're not doing the side planks. So my shoulders, hip, and ankle are in alignment. This top leg I'm going to keep straight. This bottom leg, I'm going to bring my knee directly in front of the hip. We're going to work on this bottom leg here. Pull your toe up towards your knee. So we're going to keep our knee on the ground, and we're going to lift our ankle off the ground, holding it there for 3, 2, and 1. Let's do 5 here. This is external rotation. I'm turning my femur outward for 3, 2, 1. And again for 3, 2, 1. Let's do 2 more for 3, 2, 1. Last one. 3, 2. Let's challenge ourselves a little bit. So we're going to straighten our elbow. So slight lean out here. Okay. We do the same thing. The non-working leg, we can bend it. We'll stay a little bit more stable here. And let's go again. Lift that ankle up for 3, 2, 1, and down. 3, 2, 1. Up again. 3, 2, 1. 2 more. 3, 2, 1. Might get some shakes. That is okay. 3, 2, 1. Let's challenge ourselves a little bit more. Slide your hand closer to your hip. You can place the other arm on the ground. That will help you radiate a little bit more tension. Here we go. And we're going to try and lift it up. It's not going to go very much. That's okay. 3, 2, 1. You might get some shakes. Lift. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 3 more. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Shaking a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Great job. Let's go to the other side. So now we are strengthening the hip and external rotation. This is truly how we maintain our range of motion. So how we maintain the stretch. Coming to a side lying position, almost like a side plank. Shoulder, hip, ankle are in alignment. The bottom knee is directly in front of the hip. And here we go. Keeping that knee down for 3, 2, 1. Up again. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2 more. Teaching that hip how to externally rotate. Strengthening our hips. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to challenge ourselves a little bit. Straighten that elbow. It's a little bit more challenging. If you want to place the other arm down on the ground, you can do that. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2 more. 3, 2, 1. Last one. 3, 2. You might notice one side is a lot easier than the other side. That is normal, but we want to try and get them as close to even strength as we can. Again, that top leg can be bent. It's a little bit more comfortable. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2 more. 3, 2, 1. Last one. 3, 2, and 1. All right, that is our hip mobility snack workout, focusing on hip external rotation. So you could do this on your own. I would suggest repeating it 2 to maybe 3 times per week, because we do need time to recover when we're working on strengthening our hip rotation. So it's, again, 3 exercises. We just need a little quick warm up with some hip external rotation lift-offs in the 90-90 position. Then we go into an elevated pigeon stretch, and then we do hip external rotation lift-offs. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below.